I'm Laura Ingraham, and this is the Ingraham Angle from Washington tonight. All right, day 2 of the RNC is history. And once again, we've seen a contrast between the party that believes in liberty, the GOP, and one that believes in lockdowns, the Democrats. Now, for months, we've heard Democrats and a few wimpy Republicans claim that because of this virus, we all have to get used to a new normal. But I don't think they anticipated that there were tens of millions of Americans who like the old normal, thank you very much, and aren't about to lie down to let you take it away from us.
The Obama-Biden era banking regulations left us no choice, and it deprived us of the lifeblood of our business, and then everything changed. Donald Trump was elected president, and he knew what it was like to build a company and create jobs.
Support and focus on negotiating new trade deals gave us the confidence to rebuild our barn and dairy operation.
A straight-talking New Yorker burst onto the scene, promising to stand up to China and the rest of the world on behalf of the American worker. 4 years later, the Iron Range is roaring back to life.
And then there were stories of redemption, something all of us need, no matter who we are or where we come from. And guess what? President Trump's commitment to second chances is something, of course, the media, they're never going to acknowledge, as police are demonized and unrepentant criminals roam free.
When he stood there in that graduation and he went out of his way to shake the hand of every one of those 29 graduates, set them on a whole nother vista of life because they had the office of the President of the United States. The promises that he made was promises that he kept.
So now I'd like to invite John's wife, Jamie, to join us as I grant John, I'm not sure you know this, a full pardon.
Again, this didn't fit the media's malicious narrative about President Trump. And that, by the way, doesn't even take into account that powerful speech you just heard from Melania Trump.
I also ask people to stop the violence and looting being done in the name of justice, and never make assumptions based on the color of a person's skin. Instead of tearing things down, let's reflect on our mistakes, be proud of our evolution, and look to our way forward.
The future while we learn from the past. Joining me now, Victor Davis Hanson, Hoover Institution Senior Fellow, Sara Carter, Fox News contributor, the host of the Sara Carter Show podcast, and Harmeet Dhillon, Lawyers for Trump, national co-chair, founder of the Center for American Liberty. Sara, now, this was a tough night for the folks who consider Melania to be, free Melania. Remember all those T-shirts people were selling? Right. That speech by Melania was a complete and total home run on every front.
Oh, she's absolutely remarkable. It was a speech that not only touched my heart as the wife of a wounded veteran, but it touched the hearts of people all across this country. She focused on the families who have lost loved ones from COVID. She focused on those who have died of opioid addiction and how the COVID crisis and lockdown has seen a surge. We've seen a surge in suicide rates, in opioid addiction. She spoke directly to those families of veterans, and she spoke to children. She said, it is our duty. It is our duty as adults to be there for these children, for children all over the world. I was struck, Laura, by one thing over the last 2 nights. I feel this is a Republican reawakening. It is a reawakening in our nation on freedom and the principles that we stand on, not by the color of our skin, not by anything, but by the American people, by our small business leaders, by women, by minorities. Senator Tim Scott, what we saw tonight with Attorney General of Kentucky Cameron and how he spoke out, Nikki Haley, his family. What we're seeing here is what America's really about, not what the DNC showed last week. And I think we can feel proud and confident moving forward.
Yeah, the incredibly diverse group of Americans speaking, sharing their own personal stories, and their commitment to this president for what he's done, not because of the person he is, but because of the results he was able to achieve. And Harmeet, another, I think, very interesting moment from Melania tonight. Watch.
I don't want to use this precious time attacking the other side, because as we saw last week, that kind of talk only serves to divide the country further.
Harmeet, bouncing around the internet, was that Melania taking a glancing, not a blow, but a little brush away of Michelle or others?
Well, I think so, but Melania has always been known for her grace and class and rising above and focusing on what she's chosen to focus on, and she did an amazing job tonight. I'm a first-generation immigrant. My mom studied for an exam like that, and I was sworn in and naturalized as well, and I remember that, and so that really spoke to millions of Americans as well, and all of us were so proud to see that somebody like that can be in the White House giving that kind of a speech. So she really rose above the partisan nastiness. Even as she was speaking, we see the nasty vitriol pouring out on Twitter because the left has nothing nice to say and can't acknowledge her amazing moment. But, you know, this was true class that she has led from.
And Victor, the other powerful speech of the night, I think, was the just reference by Sara, the speech by a rising star in the Republican Party, no doubt about it, Kentucky Attorney General Daniel Cameron.
Our first Republican president believed in compassion, self-reliance, freedom, equality, and justice. Sadly, there are some who don't believe in this wisdom or in the better angels of our shared American history as they tear down the statues of people like Ulysses S. Grant, Frederick Douglass, and even Mr. Lincoln himself. Lincoln said, "Any nation that does not honor its heroes will not long endure." And for Republicans, our heroes are those who propelled an imperfect nation ever forward.
Victor, how significant a moment was that tonight?
I think it was a lot more impressive than Barack Obama's 2004 convention speech that propelled him to the presidency 4 years later. It was quite stunning, and when you bookend that with Senator Scott's last night, it was really impressive because they were saying we don't need you to tell us what to think. We're more than capable of it. We're the stars of this party. Laura, this is not the party of John McCain and Mitt Romney anymore. They would never have a convention when people were talking about the opiate crisis or workers in the Midwest or the need to confront China or hit the immigration challenge head on, say these are wonderful immigrants, we're for legal immigration. It's not illegal immigration. That's a different subject. And so it's a very different party. It's more of a populist workers' party, and they didn't get, I'm for capital gains reduction and privatizing Social Security, but those aren't the issues today. And they're not talking about those things. That's an elite aristocratic party. This is more of a working party. The other thing is that I know there was criticism of Donald Trump, but he was ubiquitous. His presence is everywhere. He's energy in motion. And when you bookend that or contrast it with Joe Biden, and he's a virtual candidate in a virtual campaign in a virtual election. He's not really there anymore. There is no there for Joe Biden. And Trump is trying to emphasize that whatever you think of him, he doesn't sleep, he's in motion, he's orchestrating everything, and it makes a strong parallel, I think. And then finally, this was an upbeat idea that 2020 is an awful year. Lockdown, COVID,
right.
Possible recession, but that's something like the Great Depression or the Civil War or World War II. That's something we get through. It's not a window into our dark soul that we were flawed at the origins. And that's the message we got from the Democratic Party. We told you, you were always like this, and now you revealed America that really wasn't founded in 1776, but 1619 or some crazy idea. So it was very different, the view of America.
You will not hear this analysis anywhere else tonight, everybody watching this right now. What Victor Davis Hanson just said, Sara and Harmeet, their thoughts on this. This is not the party of George W. Bush, no offense to him, but it is a different Republican Party. It is focused on these issues that conservatives do care about a lot. And we're going to get into the small business owners, the lobstermen in Maine in just a moment, because I think that's getting overlooked tonight. That was an important moment. But Sara, I have to play this. What Victor said, these people would not be showcased as they were tonight by previous administrations or previous candidates. But Abby Johnson, formerly with Planned Parenthood, tonight. Watch.
I spent 8 years working for Planned Parenthood. My supervisor assigned me a new quota to meet, an abortion quota. An unborn baby fighting back, desperate to move away from the suction. And I'll never forget what the doctor said next. Beam me up, Scotty.
Sara, it just took your breath away. You think of the standing ovation in the New York State Assembly for late-term abortion. You think of Ralph Northam saying, the governor of Virginia saying, oh, we'll keep them comfortable if the baby's born alive. And then you heard her testimony. Would the Bushes or Mitt Romney have given such a prominent platform to that message, Sara?
No, they would not. And that's why, Laura, I said at the beginning, this is a Republican reawakening. This is a new party. This is a party that cares about the American people, about the American worker, about the principles and the values of life. That is drastically different than the Republican Party that was hijacked for so long by the Bushes, by the McCains, by others that didn't focus in on these issues of the American worker, the American people, the right to life. Here's the first president who has stood up and stood up proudly for the right to life, for our children that are dying. And the first president that has pointed out that children have been dying by the thousands, particularly in minority communities, from abortion. I think that we need to stop being so silent. And I think that these first 2 days of the convention, that this idea of silent majority no longer exists. I think Americans are unsilent now, and we're being able to speak out and move forward.
We're not going to be silent. The silent thing has got to go at this point. Harmeet, really quickly, I'm from New England. I got a lot of friends in Maine watching. The Lobsterman, the lobster guy. We got to watch him. Play it.
Yeah.
I have to confess, I didn't support Trump in 2016. Skeptical that he shared my conservative views, I expected him to flip-flop on his campaign promises. When he sees something isn't right, he's fearless in fixing it. He listens to working people.
He listens to working people, Harmeet, getting those tariffs lifted from the Europeans on the Maine lobster industry. It seems like just, a small issue, but not to that Swan Island. It's not a small issue to them.
Absolutely, Laura. And as others have said tonight, this is a different Republican Party. I've been part of that party for decades now, and I can tell you that we had a death struggle at the convention 4 years ago, and yesterday when we did our nomination, it was smooth as silk. This is the new party, and it's an energetic party. It's a different party, and I'm really excited to see this party grow and see stars like Daniel Cameron and others become the leaders of this party in the future.
Good stuff, panel. Thank you all so much.